Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining Campango and RingCentral for today's partner webinar, where we'll be discussing how we improve customer experience, or CX, through technology. Just a heads up, everyone's going to be automatically muted from the start, so if you do have any questions throughout the presentation, please just make sure to utilize the Q&A and chat functions that are located at the bottom of the screen, and we will be waiting until the end to address all questions. So let's get started here. Eric, if we could get the next slide. Thank you. Some quick introductions. My name is Jared Tunn. I'm an associate channel manager with Campango. You'll have to forgive my voice today. I'm at the tail end of getting over a cold, so no, I'm not, in fact, half human, half frog. I'm also very thankful that all the attendees today are muted so that you won't have to be, or we won't have to be subjected to the inevitable groans from any terrible jokes that I'm probably going to make. Helping me present today will be Eric Pasnak, who is the Principal Specialist for RingCentral's Engage Digital product. And we also have Rachel Casillas, who is RingCentral's Partner Success Manager. And lastly, Carrie Schaefer, who is RingCentral's Channel Marketing Manager. Rachel and Carrie are going to be here to help with the Q&A and chat functions and help answer any questions that we have today. So just a quick overview of who we are at Campango. We have offices located with our headquarters in Milwaukee, also in Chicago, New York, London, and Port Elizabeth, South Africa, and we are about to open up an office in Atlanta as well. Our global team is nearing 100 members, and there's a couple other bits of information here that you can go over. But just one other important thing to highlight is that we have reached Gold Consulting Partner status with Salesforce, which allows us to get some extra benefits from Salesforce side. So this is why we're here today. We're here to talk about why CX is so important. And that all leads into organizational health. As you can see from the graphic, in our ecosystem, CX and WX, or EX as some industries call it, which is worker experience, that all revolves around organizational health. And there's three key metrics that all play into this, which is worker retention, driving customer conversations, and then also customer retention. And these metrics play into that two-way relationship between WX and EX and revolves around and is a key driver for organizational health. And we're going to talk more about the why of that more. So there's some pretty compelling evidence to suggest that investing in tools that shape a better customer service experience can drive significant financial benefits. Here we see some statistics from a study by Avande and Sitecore that showed that organizations that focus on CX saw 40% of them saw an increase in revenue, 38 achieved better financial performance, and 41% increased customer acquisition and retention rates. And this led into these respondents reporting 18 to 22% improvements for revenue, increased financial performance, and acquisition and retention of customers. So that in itself is pretty compelling, but the same study also saw some additional eye-popping stats, which were 58 and 45% increases respectively in customer satisfaction and customer loyalty. And one of the most eye-popping for me was the fact that they showed that on average, for every dollar invested in a better customer service experience, these organizations saw a return rate of $3 on the dollar. Interestingly enough, actually an additional study from Avande and Sitecore that surveyed over 1,400 marketing and IT decision makers said that 95% of those that responded stated critical need for improvement for their CX. And the same study found that 61% of businesses lose revenue and 63% miss sales opportunities solely due to having a disconnected tech stack that plays into how their workers create a customer experience. That's really important because those are some incredibly significant losses right there when you're talking about losing two-thirds decrease in your customer's happiness. And moving into this, when we talk about how worker experience and customer experience is a two-way street, We look at increase in customer experience attention from leadership standpoint. You saw a 17% increase in productivity, significant 41% decrease in absenteeism, and an increase of 21% of profitability when that worker's experience is taken into consideration. And you can see that it's listing that companies that invest in a positive worker experience are 4 times more profitable than those that don't. And I want to give a quick example, especially related to this business vertical. You know, imagine that you have a contact center agent, you know, and generally if you don't have a solid solution in place, that worker may be looking at, you know, 5, 6, 7, sometimes 10 different screens, and 10 different programs when on a call or when in contact with a customer. And let's face it, generally when we're talking customer service, those incoming calls, those incoming messages or emails, there's usually going to be a negative connotation to why those are coming in. So you already have your contact center agents that are, you know, have a job that is not necessarily always going to be positive interactions. So the last thing you want to do is giving them a worker experience, which is making everything more jumbled, more frustrating, and there's less insight in what we like to say as a single pane of glass to their job and that customer's experience. And when you can solve that with technology solutions like CRM, which we'll continue talking about, and like the type of UCaaS and CCaaS solutions that RingCentral provides, which Eric will talk about more later, you really start to improve that worker's experience. You make their life easier, you make their job more satisfactory, more enjoyable, and that is always going to turn into a better experience for your end user and your customer. I wanted to go over a few first of all, we're going to talk about obstacles. So there's 3 keys that we've found that are obstacles to meeting customer experience goals. That's lack of actionable data, lack of visibility into customer interactions, and lack of enablement tools for the workforce. And that's where you really start to combine CRM solution and various UCaaS, CCaaS solutions to, like we were just talking about, turning that worker experience and that customer experience into a seamless, cohesive, beneficial solution. Because when you put all of your data, that customer's full journey, into a single pane of glass, into a single solution, like a CRM such as Salesforce, that's only going to make everything better at the end. So we're going to go over a few customer stories that help paint a picture of why CRM is so important to helping tailor a positive WX and CX experience. It centralizes data. We've been talking about the single pane of glass, which is truly putting all your various solutions, whether it be unified communication solutions, contact center solutions, if there are home-built solutions, or even things such as companies that use Excel and Google Sheets and things of that nature at a very low level, to put all of that data, all of that reporting capabilities, all of the customer past interactions into a single solution that is easily accessible, easily reportable, and it's easy to talk to your customers and include their past experiences in those current conversations when you have all of that in front of you. So we had a customer for us named Dealer Inspire, and they basically have automotive companies. They have a website platform and a technology solution that helps with car dealerships. And they were growing so fast that they were not able to properly manage their marketing functions any longer. They also felt like the data that they were collecting was not at all usable or actionable in any way, which is something that you never want to have. You can have all the data in the world in a billion spreadsheets, but if there's no way to effectively use it, then it's really just worthless. So what Campango did was we came in and we were able to customize their Salesforce Service Cloud for their needs. And we're also able to implement Salesforce's automated marketing solution called Pardot, which integrated seamlessly into their service desk solution that allowed them to automatically submit service tickets to Campango for any administrative or service needs. And what it helps do is get Dealer Inspire up and running with automated campaigns, actionable data that was all in a centralized place for them. And they were able to truly streamline their marketing functions that allowed them to grow and regionalize their business operations. This is another success story that we're very proud of. We unfortunately are not able to share the name of this customer, but I'm sure if you Google America's largest home furnishing retailer, it'll be pretty easy to find. And the issues that they saw was a true revamp needed for their entire customer support process. They truly had a very disjointed and poor customer service experience, and they were getting feedback constantly about that. And what we did is we came in and implemented Service Cloud, and we customized a community, a Salesforce community for their customers, which gives them an online platform that allows them to communicate, and not only with the furnishing retailer, but also other customers. And in addition to that, we have given them a bunch of custom integrations with existing homegrown solutions, as well as providing ongoing administrative support services. So now they have a customized solution that allows their support agents to handle multi-channel or omni-channel requests seamlessly and consistently through that entire customer journey. And that is so, so important, because once again, going back to that example of a contact center agent, when you grab a call or a message from an incoming customer, and you immediately are able to bring up every single past interaction, any kind of notes, any type of previous calls or emails, you get such a better picture right away into that customer's past issues, what they purchased in the past, and you're able to tailor that conversation much more personally, and it makes that customer experience so much more valuable, because they feel like they truly are an individual being addressed as an individual, and that the company is now, they know their past interactions, they know their past purchases, they know their past issues, their past positive experiences, and just building off of that, you continue to have that customer journey that flows through that single pane of glass throughout their history with the company. And this is our last story to highlight, and this one focuses on integrations. We had a company who, again, we are not allowed to share their name, but they are a leading garden center supplier. So, places like Home Depot or Stein's or any other local garden center that provides landscape materials, things for your garden for the year. They're providing those plants for those types of businesses. And this company had an existing Sales Cloud solution in place with Salesforce, but they needed to continue to further expand their retail channels. They felt like they were a bit hampered by their current outlets for revenue, and we wanted to get them up and running, and they obviously wanted to get up and running on different solutions that could integrate seamlessly with their current Sales Cloud, as well as current homegrown solutions, into specifically a Jet.com commerce hub, which gives them a massive amount of customer and product data based off of their sales. And that was able to integrate with existing UCaaS solutions that they had. And it's now all data that they have, all interactions that they have are on a single trusted platform. We just briefly want to focus specifically when talking about the Salesforce platform and implementing a CRM solution like that. We want to talk about the benefits of an implementation partner like Campango. Most people are familiar with Salesforce and the platform, and some people speak about it as if it's an out-of-the-box solution. However, when you think about how robust their platform is, the multiple clouds, the multiple products they have, it really truly is not out of the box, because when you're paying the money for a solution such as Salesforce, let's face it, you want to get the maximum value out of that. And when you have a product that is so customizable, to your current processes and your future processes and your future business needs, that is something that you want to bring in a partner like Campango to truly tailor your Salesforce instance to exactly what your company needs and exactly how it's going to allow you reach the goals that you have that are tomorrow, 6 months down the line, a year down the line, and even further out. And when you have someone like Campango, the biggest thing is our expertise. You know, we've completed well over 900 projects at this point. You know, many partners out there have a ton of experience, and our best asset is that exactly, our expertise, our knowledge. We've been there before. The chances are, if you're looking for a problem to solve, we've likely seen it multiple times, and we're going to be able to suggest that custom solution that best suits your individual needs. We're going to know what's going to work and what's likely not going to work based off past experiences, and we'll be able to steer that customer in the right direction so that they're getting the absolute best they can out of their investment, and they're not over-investing, because let's face it, sometimes Salesforce will want to sell you on as much as they can, but it might not be something your company needs now. Maybe it's a phase 2, phase 3, maybe it's not needed at all. But we're also able to be there and be that buffer between the end user and Salesforce to make sure that the customized solution that you're getting is exactly the one that you need. And lastly, going on, you know, we've talked about integration a lot today, but it truly is so important, because with a platform like Salesforce that has an app exchange, which has over 3,000 different solutions and softwares that are native to Salesforce and seamlessly integrate, you truly can do anything. And when you have someone that has the expertise to do that and be able to integrate and be knowledgeable of those various options that help fully build out your CRM platform, whether it's going to be various you know, UCaaS and CCaaS solutions that are able to be integrated with Salesforce, such as RingCentral, or whatever other needs you may have. There really is a massive benefit to having an experienced implementation partner. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Eric, who's going to continue speaking about how agent empowerment leads to a better WX, and obviously then comes full circle to a better overall CX.
Thank you, Jared. I appreciate that. So real quickly on a little bit on RingCentral, in case you're not familiar with the company, and then we'll talk about changes that are going on within engagement or even proactive outbound communications. We're actually going to focus a little bit on digital today, because that's really where the biggest growth and the biggest changes are going on in the marketplace. One of the things that's driving that, you look at Stephen Jobs and a statement that he made about get close to your customer, so close that you tell them what they want before they realize it. And you think about the innovations that are going on there, the advent of the smartphone, and that's really changed how we are interfacing with each other, as well as how we're talking to companies that we deal with. So with that, customer expectations have changed. Of course, they've always wanted to be listened to, but that's more important than ever, because it's so easy to make changes today. They want simplicity and they want convenience. It doesn't always relate to when is the contact center available? When do I have agents available to talk on the phone? With the advent of messaging apps and different modes of communications, that's opened up opportunities to communicate 24/7. So with that, when you think about customers, they prefer to engage on their channel of choice. It may not be voice. It may be, if you have international customers, maybe WhatsApp. It might be text message. It might be email. It might be web chat on the website. So with that, they now have many digital identities. Think about in your own personal life. How many phone numbers do you have? I mean, I have 3. I have my home, my work, and my mobile number. Emails, I have my work, my personal, and the one that I use to order all my stuff on so I don't get spam. So you think about all these different channels that you have. Add on that social and messaging, Facebook Messenger. It creates a huge opportunity to learn more about your customer and the different ways that they're communicating. Customers, we've all gone digital. You think about how you're communicating. Everybody has used social media. So not everybody, but 3/4 of adults have used social media, whether it is something popping up on Facebook and you clicking through, actually communicating if you have an issue over Twitter or something on Instagram. You think combine that with the number of smartphone users that are out there, 2 billion plus globally, and everybody's using messaging apps today. I tend to use messaging first and then phone call unless it's something really urgent. So messaging has become pretty much the de facto method of communications, especially peer-to-peer. You combine that, and from a customer experience standpoint, the fact that it's so easy to make changes today. A study was done that millennials and Gen Zs are 5 times more likely to cut ties with a company after a poor experience. And with that continuance of data and the availability of data, everybody hates repeating themselves. And this is an interesting stat. 75% of people would much rather do chores than deal with a bot. I don't think that's true if bots are designed effectively. We can't use bots as a replacement for humans in every instance. We hope that it's going to reduce costs on some of those mundane, easy transactional things, but there's always going to be a need for live agents in the contact center. There we go. For agents, it's also personal for them as well. Very high turnover, still in contact centers today. And 3/4 of agents said that they can't effectively do their job and they can't communicate because the technologies and the information is disjointed. They're unable to get the information that they need. They're unable to communicate with the consumers how they need to communicate with them. But then you look at it from the standpoint of how consumers want to communicate, and you think about all these different channels that are out there, and the challenge then becomes is, as an organization, how do I empower my agents to be able to support consumers without them having to know, how do I respond on Facebook Messenger? How do I respond on WhatsApp? What's available on chat? What's available on email? How do we handle reviews through Google My Business and Google Reviews? So the benefit, and one of the things that RingCentral does is through our Gauge platform, is we take all of these different channels, we normalize them into a single interface and present those to the agent. So the benefit of it is that the agents don't have to know all these different channels. They have to know how to handle their role as customer support, as tech support, as sales, as billing, whatever that role may be, and utilize a platform that can actually manage how that gets communicated back to the consumer. A couple of customers that are utilizing this type of technology. One of the things that it was able to do is it was able to increase productivity because the agents were able to respond to the messages on that platform, providing higher customer satisfaction. And they were able to manage all this centrally and have reporting on it. And in the case of Proximus, the company in Europe, they're handling 3 languages, English, French, and Dutch. And they were managing about 300,000 messages a month when you talk about all the different channels that they were supporting. And their customer satisfaction rate jumped from around 60% up to 80% by enabling their customers to utilize more channels and ones that were relevant to what they wanted to use. Orange is a telecommunications provider. Again, they wanted to offer simplicity to their customers, but they needed something that would be able to support the millions of customers that they had. And again, they rolled out messaging within their organization a couple different ways. One of the things that's different in Europe versus the US, in the US, we're spoiled by free, unlimited texting. Outside of the US, texting costs money. So there's a growth of applications such as WhatsApp in Asia, Latin America, in China and Asia, there's WeChat. And those applications are being utilized by organizations and companies to be able to communicate with their customers in replace of doing something like chat. So in the case, or I should say, I'm sorry, SMS. So in the case of Orange, they're handling about 90,000 messages a month across WhatsApp, and they have messaging within their mobile app as well. And again, very, very high customer satisfaction. The last one that I want to talk about is AXA Insurance, one of the largest insurance companies in the world. And again, their customers were demanding alternative ways to communicate. They're able to manage communications through email, through chat, through their mobile app, across social media, as well as WhatsApp. And they're able to, the staggering stat here is they're able to respond to 100% of the inquiries that need to be responded to, including what's happening on social media, being able to filter out the noise and address what's addressable. Their average response time was less than 4 minutes. And from a social media post standpoint, they had over a 50% reduction in negative social posts because they were able to effectively and quickly address consumers, no matter what channel they were coming in on. And the big driver behind that, and the last thing I want to kind of touch on, is messaging. That is really the direction that consumers are looking to go, and there's a couple reasons for that. So the whole idea is, hey, customer care should be as easy as messaging a friend. You know how to text and message your friends, you should be able to do that with the companies you're interacting with as well. And you look at messaging services, I talked a lot about WhatsApp. It's actually growing in the US, but not to the rate that it's growing in other areas. WhatsApp is now the largest messaging service utilized on a daily basis in the world, 1.5 billion users. Facebook is larger, but Facebook Messenger is actually only around 1.2 billion users that use it on a regular basis. People are more likely to provide information. Private messaging is used 3 times more than public and social channels as far as a method of communications. And from a convenience standpoint, consumers would, in many instances, much rather message than call customer service. And some of that has to do with the urgency of the situation. If it's something very urgent, today I will still pick up the phone. But if it's something that I just need some information on, something that just needs to be taken care of soon, I message. And the reason that we're seeing this huge growth in messages is you think about it from a communication standpoint. It's asynchronous, meaning that both parties don't have to be present. Think of chat, think of voice. Both parties have to be there and attentive. If the phone call ends, if the chat session ends, the conversation's gone. You've got to start all over again. Messaging applications don't require both parties to be active all the time. If we're both on, great, we're talking in real time. One of us goes away, the conversation doesn't end. In the case of customer care, agent has to go research something. Rather than customers staying dedicated or tied up, agent can go find the information. When they have the response, the customer gets notification. The reverse of that. Customer needs to go find a bill, needs to find an invoice, needs to reset a router, or whatever the case may be. Why keep the agent tied up during that? As soon as the customer has the information, they can respond, and you have the ability to re-engage the agent. There's also the persistence of it, the fact that the conversation continues. If I close out, think of Facebook Messenger, if you utilize Facebook Messenger. If you close Facebook Messenger and go back in, that conversation, the past conversation is still there. You delete Facebook Messenger and reinstall it. The conversation is there as well. You have the ability to have the concept of conversations and not tickets. So you can have that continuation of what's happening with a customer in those types of situations. And from a familiarity standpoint, most consumers today know how to use messaging apps. They know how to add images. They know how to click on links. They know how these applications work. So really, that's one of the biggest shifts that we are seeing from a customer experience, customer engagement standpoint, is that shift from these synchronous channels such as voice and chat, and the use of email, though it's not a synchronous channel. We're seeing that shift to things that are more persistent and more available and more understood in the world of messaging. So really, in kind of closing, really what we're trying to show is there is a new era of digital customer experience, employee experience, the ability to communicate on the channels of consumers' choices, and having that ability to get the information out and available for agents from the CRM, from Salesforce, to be able to effectively communicate and engage customers. And the ultimate goal of that, again, is that increase in customer experience. So with that, Rachel, I will turn it over to you.
Thanks everyone for joining. We have some time for questions and answers. Again, if you have questions, please feel free to use the chat or Q&A function down on your screen. We'll keep this open for a little bit longer so questions can come through and we can answer as they do. So please feel free to message.
I see one question here. Does RingCentral provide bandwidth also, or just SaaS? I will try to answer that, Rachel. I might have to fall over to you for that. But if you're talking around the voice channels, we do provide both the contact center and voice technology, as well as the telephony associated with that. Also, from the digital standpoint, we do provide the ability to handle the actual communications across those channels. There's not somebody else that you need to go to be able to support that.
Jared, earlier we did have a question come through on pricing for the Campango services. Is there a website or someone that they can contact for more information on that?
We can definitely get in touch with one of our account executives when it comes to pricing. The thing with the consulting and implementation services is that everything is so customizable that it's really tough to pinpoint exactly what a cost is going to be. Everything is based off of an hourly rate grid based off of our delivery team's role. So basically, when we go in for a deal, we're going to go in, scope it out, spend a ton of time looking at your current business processes and needs, and what it's going to take to get you exactly where you want your Salesforce organization to be. And then we'll put together a scope of work with the total billing and cost. It's tough to say just because, sometimes we'll have, deals that are maybe 100 licenses with, very, very basic customizations and setup. And that's going to cost the same as a deal with only 10 licenses that might have a ton of integrations and data migration. So, we have implementations that are 7,000, 8,000 sometimes. They're getting more rare because we're focusing a little bit more on medium and small, medium, mid-sized businesses. But, we also have tons of deals in the 30, 40, 50 range, and then hundreds of thousands. So it's tough to pinpoint to say this is exactly what our fees are. But if someone truly wants to get an idea of what the scope would be for a specific project, I am more than happy to get them in touch with one of our account executives.
Okay, great. I'll go ahead and send your contact information to them after this call. Are there any other questions coming through? There's another one coming from, to Campango. Are you guys on a residual model?
Meaning, as far as payment is concerned to partners, I'm guessing?
I would assume so. That's, commission. It's like an
Sure.
MRR standpoint.
It's not going to be the residual commission model that most Intelisys partners are used to. However, it is evergreen. So as of right now, I know that partners within the Intelisys channel that do bring a successful deal to Campango, there is a 20% fee of those implementation services that is paid to Intelisys, and then they pay the partner. Exactly what percent of that 20%, I'm not sure, but I know it's significant. And then while it won't be, a monthly revenue, if there are ever any additional changes in scope of work, say they decided they needed a bit more added to phase 1, and there's some additional revenue there, or say there's a phase 2, phase 3, phase 4 that goes on, that partner will continue to receive their portion of those consulting and implementation services. So we have seen a lot of cases where we have deals that start small, and then the customer is very satisfied, they grow, they scale, and they need further services. So we've had $20,000 deals eventually turn into $500,000 deals. So there is a potential for ongoing revenue, but it is not residual. I see one more question. Does Campango reorganize and integrate what RingCentral provides in respect to CRM? And absolutely yes. That's a big part of what we do. At Campango especially, we do a ton of integration and customization with our projects. And that very often is with UCaaS and CCaaS solutions like RingCentral's. And I know that they can seamlessly integrate to the Salesforce CRM platform. So it definitely makes it a bit easier on us. Why the weird name? Campango is a split between English and Latin. Pango is Latin for fix, so it means can fix, meaning we come in and we fix your customer experiences, we fix your sales and services organizations and tailor them to exactly what you need. I didn't come up with it.
That's a very fun fact. All right. Are there any other questions out there? All right, everyone. I think that'll do it. If there is anything else, please feel free to reach out to either Carrie, myself, Jared, or Eric. We're happy to help. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon.